It's morning. You're walking down the hallway, coffee in hand, and you see it. A small wet patch on the floor right next to the litter box. Not in it, beside it. Your cat is on the windowsill, licking a paw, completely unbothered. And the first thought that forms is some version of, "Really? You couldn't make it 2 more inches?" That reaction feels rational, but it's the exact wrong read. What your cat just did with surgical spatial precision is one of the most specific and diagnosable signals in feline behavior. Eliminating right beside the box is not defiance. Cats don't have the cognitive architecture for spite. That requires a theory of mind no peer-reviewed study has ever demonstrated in domestic cats. What your cat did is closer to a sentence, and the litter box is the only page it has to write on. There's something we'll get to later, something involving glands most owners don't know exist, that turns a routine trip to the litter box into a quiet act of trust. Researchers studying territorial behavior didn't expect to find it. It reframes everything. But first, the mistake that costs cats their homes, and it starts with the word owners reach for most often, behavioral. Your cat stops using the box. You Google it, you read about stress, about dominance, about adding another box. But what if the cause has nothing to do with the box at all, and everything to do with something happening inside your cat's body that it can't tell you about any other way? Feline idiopathic cystitis is a chronic, stress-mediated bladder inflammation. A 2011 study in the Journal of Veterinary Internal Medicine found that cats with FIC associate pain not with the disease but with the location where the pain occurs. The box becomes the place where it hurts, and the cat develops a learned place aversion that can persist months after the medical issue resolves. In male cats, urinary crystals can form a complete blockage, and a blocked male can die within 48 to 72 hours. Sudden box avoidance in a male cat is a veterinary emergency, not a training problem. Diabetes and hyperthyroidism increase urine output dramatically. Constipation causes straining the cat maps to the box itself. Declawed cats can develop neuropathic pain in their paw beds years after surgery, making every dig agonizing. And arthritis, a 2002 radiographic study found degenerative joint changes in roughly 90% of cats over 12, doesn't show as a limp. It shows as a cat that can't hold the deep squat elimination requires. The correct diagnostic sequence per the American Association of Feline Practitioners. Rule out medical first, then box setup, then behavioral. Most owners invert this entirely, so the first mistake is assuming the cat is the problem when the body is. But let's say the vet visit comes back clean. The cat is healthy and still avoiding the box. Now the next place to look isn't the cat or the box, it's what you clean the box with. Ammonia-based cleaners leave residue that mimics concentrated urine scent. To the cat's nose, you didn't clean the box, you made it smell like another cat marked it. Pine sol and phenol-based disinfectants are directly hepatotoxic to cats, whose livers lack sufficient glucuronidation enzymes to process phenolic compounds. Citrus-based natural cleaners contain limonene and linalool, compounds literally sold as commercial cat deterrent sprays. You're cleaning the box with cat repellent. The fix is simple: hot water, unscented dish soap. Rinse until it runs clear. Enzyme-based cleaners are the next tier, and replace the entire box annually. Abrasive scrubbing creates micro scratches that permanently trap bacteria and odor in the plastic. So the chemical layer is wrong, but there's something else happening inside that box. Not a scent, a particle. And it's been settling into your cat's lungs at point-blank range. That cloud when you pour fresh litter? Bentonite clay dust falls in the PM 2.5 to PM 10 respirable range, the same particle categories flagged for airway inflammation in humans. Your cat inhales this with its nose 10 to 15 centimeters from the surface, multiple times daily for its entire life. Feline asthma affects 1 to 5% of the domestic cat population, and a 2004 study in the American Journal of Veterinary Research identified chronic inhalant exposure as a contributing trigger. Brachycephalic breeds are disproportionately vulnerable. Low dust and dust-free are completely unregulated claims. The only reliable test is pouring from 30 centimeters and watching for a visible plume. Even natural alternatives aren't clean. Walnut shell and corn-based litters produce organic dust that can carry Aspergillus fungal spores. There is no perfect substrate, only trade-offs. So what the cat smells is wrong and what it breathes is wrong. But there's an even more basic question. Is the box actually big enough? Veterinary behaviorists recommend minimum 1.5 times the cat's nose-to-tail base length. The industry standard large box is about 45 centimeters. A standard domestic shorthair needs roughly 55 to 60. That's not a close miss, it's a cat trying to perform a hardwired dig-turn-cover sequence in a space that won't allow the rotation. What happens next looks like misbehavior, but is an engineering failure. The cat perches on the rim, urine overshoots the wall, and the owner concludes the cat is missing. A plastic storage container, roughly 80 by 40 centimeters with one wall cut down, is the most widely recommended alternative among feline behaviorists. Costs less than a branded box and provides nearly twice the floor area. But even a properly sized box can fail if what's inside it feels wrong. And this is where it gets surprisingly personal. You switched litters last month. The cat used it for a day, then started going on the bathroom tile. You switched back. The cat returned immediately. That wasn't random, it was a preference locked in before your cat was 2 months old. Controlled substrate trials published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery show most cats reliably choose fine-grained, sand-textured substrates, consistent with their evolutionary ancestor Felis libica, which eliminated in loose sand. Silica crystals press into paw pads. Pelleted wood feels like gravel. Both carry high rejection rates. Try the hand press test. Push your palm into the litter with your full weight. If edges dig into your skin, they dig into pads. And never switch overnight. Behaviorists recommend transitioning at roughly 25% new litter per week over a month. So the substrate matters. But now look at the structure. That hood you added to contain the mess? Your cat may experience it as something very different. Imagine assuming the most vulnerable posture your body takes all day inside a dark plastic dome with one exit, where ammonia concentrations reach 2 to 3 times an equivalent open box. You can't see behind you, environmental sound is muffled. A cat is simultaneously a predator and prey animal. A single entry hood eliminates escape routes during peak vulnerability. And the hood hides the mess from the owner, paradoxically reducing scooping frequency and accelerating hygiene decline. If scatter containment is the goal, a high-sided open box with one low-cut entry wall solves it without trapping vapor or blocking sightlines. Watch for diagnostic signs of hood stress, hesitation at entry, ducked head, flattened ears, rushing out without covering. Inside the structure, underneath the substrate, there's a measurement most owners have never considered. How deep is your litter right now? Under 3 centimeters doesn't allow a full dig and cover cycle. Over 10 feels unstable. 5 to 7 centimeters is the functional window, deep enough for burial, shallow enough for confident footing. And many owners habitually top off without ever fully dumping, creating a compacted, ammonia-saturated base layer hidden beneath the fresh surface. Depth, size, substrate, structure. But there's a clock running underneath all of it. You scooped this morning. It's evening. Chemistry didn't wait. Urea degrades to ammonia within hours. And your cat's 200 million olfactory receptors detected it long before your 6 million did. Twice daily scooping is the behaviorist minimum. Once daily is a floor, not a standard. Some cats, Siamese lines are frequently cited, refuse the box after a single use. And some owners try to buy time with scented litter. The logic seems sound. But a 30-to-1 receptor ratio means every fragrance molecule is amplified across a sensory canyon. No product label conveys. Lavender, citrus, and pine are among the scent families cats actively avoid. Worse, scented litter masks ammonia from the owner's nose but not from the cat's, creating a false sense of cleanliness that delays the scooping the cat actually needs. Activated charcoal absorbs odor without adding fragrance, far better tolerated. A properly scooped, unscented litter should have minimal odor on its own. If it smells, that's a frequency problem, not a fragrance deficiency. Everything so far applies at any age. But there's a dimension that shifts slowly, silently over years. A cat that used the same box happily for a decade begins hesitating at the edge. Nothing changed in the box. Something changed in the cat. Arthritis makes that deep elimination squat, hips flexed, hocks compressed, spine curved, quietly excruciating. A wall height that was effortless at 5 becomes a barrier at 12. A cat that stops burying isn't asserting dominance. It may have joint pain that makes the raking motion impossible. Feline cognitive dysfunction causes spatial disorientation. More boxes in visible, well-lit areas compensate for declining mental mapping. And here's where the script turns, because buried in the research on territorial marking is something that reframes everything. When a cat digs, its paws press interdigital glands, small scent glands between the toes, into the substrate with every stroke. Those glands deposit pheromones that communicate something very specific, not dominance, not warning, something closer to a signature on a lease. The chemical signal means this place is mine, this place is safe, I live here. The covering ritual isn't waste disposal. It's the final stroke of a scent signature. Researchers at the University of Lincoln found that cats, with intact pheromone marking opportunities, showed measurably lower stress biomarkers than cats whose marking cues were chemically disrupted. The box isn't just a bathroom, it's a psychological anchor. That dig and cover sequence is a ritual of territorial comfort your cat performs, quietly, multiple times a day, without anyone understanding what it means. This is what scented litter erases, what harsh cleaners destroy, what a hooded box traps in stale air until the signal degrades. Every chemical shortcut that overwrites that scent layer removes the one message the cat is leaving for itself. The message that says home. And this is exactly what toilet training eliminates. Every major feline veterinary behavior organization advises against it. It removes the ability to monitor stool and urine, the earliest home indicators of kidney disease, diabetes, and GI disorders. It erases the entire pheromone ritual. A single slip creates a fear association with elimination itself. And reverting a toilet-trained cat back to litter is notoriously difficult. The cleverest-looking hack is the one decision that strips away every layer of communication. Where the box sits matters too. Appliances produce unpredictable noise that conditions avoidance through startle. Corners provide flank security. Basements are damp, cold, and distant from the cat's core territory. The formula is N+1, one box per cat plus one extra. In genuinely different locations, 4 boxes in one room are one resource from the cat's territorial perspective. Even single-cat homes benefit from 2, because some cats prefer to urinate and defecate in separate locations. The single most common cause of multi-cat house soiling in behavioral consultations is insufficient box count. Not disease, not spite, just not enough boxes in enough places. None of this is complicated. It asks for something simpler and harder, a willingness to see the litter box the way your cat sees it. Not as a chore, as a place where a quiet animal that chose to live with you performs a private ritual of trust, multiple times a day in the only language its body allows. That scratch, scratch, scratch from the other room. You've heard it 1,000 times, but that sound is a cat pressing its scent into the ground, writing a word into the litter with the glands between its toes. The word is home. And you're part of what that word means. If your cat has a litter box habit that's always puzzled you, something it does every time, or stopped doing one day, I'd like to hear about it. Those small details carry more meaning than most people realize, and if you're thinking of a cat who isn't here anymore, their rituals counted too. Thanks for being here.